What's up gamers, welcome to episode 2 of the Renegade Platinum Strategy Guide. I want to thank everyone for the success of the first episode. None of this could be possible without your support. If you did not watch the first episode, I'd recommend doing so as it explains the vision and the direction of the guide. This episode will cover the Gardenia split, meaning the second gym battle and every event before it. Lastly, if you have a question about the game not yet covered by the guide, drop into my Twitch chat or leave a comment below and I'll be happy to help. Without further ado, let's jump into it and pick up where our journey left off. Well, sorry, one more thing. There may be some discrepancies in the game documents and the battle calculator when it comes to Pokemon natures. The documents mention a Pokemon having one nature, but the battle calculator states another. What gives? Well, after speaking to Draiano, the ROM's creator, Dre mentioned, quote, "I believe the calc actually dumped the trainer files, so I'd trust that if there's a discrepancy. And they're all handwritten, so there's definitely going to be some mistakes. So, in conclusion, use the battle calculator in the description while prepping for each battle." Big shout out to Dre for squashing this issue and helping me out with the video. And now, back to the run. After mopping up Roark, our new level cap for Gardenia is 26, giving you the freedom to level up your Pokemon a bit. Be careful not to level up too much if you play with level cap rules. There are some key events prior to battling Gardenia, and you don't want to risk over leveling a Pokemon. Our journey takes us back to Jubilife City. There you will join up with Lucas or Dawn in a tag battle against Team Galactic. This fight is very straightforward as their Pokemon don't scale past level 13. The only thing to note in this fight is a Stunky with the ability Aftermath. After exiting Ravaged Path, we enter the northern part of Route 204. A Miracle Seed, the Bullet Seed TMs, and the Captivate TMs are located here. More on the Captivate TMs in a bit. Floaroma Town has a lot to offer, so get yourself nice and cozy. First, head to the Pokemon Center and battle the reporters for the last time. They will give you the Johto starters as a reward. Like the other 3 starter groups, the Johto starters receive buffs and tweaks. To start, the Chikorita line gets the hidden ability Serene Grace and the Grass Fairy typing upon evolving into Meganium. The Cyndaquil line gets the hidden ability Adaptability, boosting its damage output and making Typhlosion one of the best Pokemon in the game. Last is the Totodile line, which gets Intimidate as a hidden ability, further boosting its impact on the game. It also gets the Water Dark typing upon evolving into Feraligatr. You can save and reset for a favorable ability, nature, or IVs on any of these Pokemon if your rule set allows it. After grabbing the starters, enter this house and talk to the old man to receive the Aerial Ace TMs. You can come back to this house later and trade the girl a Cherubi for her Skorupi. This Skorupi is guaranteed to have fantastic IVs across the board and can bail you out of getting stuck with a Cherubi from Floaroma Meadow. Next, head to the flower shop and pick the berries outside. Inside the shop, pick up the spray bottle and the free daily berry. You now have an excuse to hack in more of these berries since they are all technically plantable. Lastly, the item guy is located in the final house. Show him any of these corresponding Pokemon to be given a battle item benefiting their specific species. These items are very niche, but they could come in handy. Now it's time to progress the plot and save this girl's grandpa like the 10-year-old vigilante we are. Head east towards Valley Windworks to grab more berries, the magnet, and the shockwave TMs. The wild Magnemite here can potentially hold a metal coat. With some luck or clausing, this could benefit your run if your rule set allows it. Now, a quick note about Route 205. It is noteworthy that the routes north and south of Eterna Forest are both considered Route 205. Now, the north and the south portions of this route have slightly different encounter tables. However, you can't access the northern part of Route 205 until after Eterna Forest. Essentially, you have to decide whether it's best to either delay the Route 205 encounter or get it now within the southern section. Each section has different grass encounters, fishing encounters, honey tree exclusive Pokemon, and a guaranteed Beedrill, so choose what best works for your run. Alright, now back to the plot. The game takes us back to Floaroma Meadow to take care of some galactic grunts. Upon rescuing the man, he will thank you by giving you honey. Honey trees are spread throughout Sinnoh and give you the chance to catch rare Pokemon. Some of these rare Pokemon are exclusive only to honey trees. Make sure to check the honey tree sections of the encounter document and decide if you want to test your luck. And speaking of honey encounters, Munchlax is located in the honey tree at Valley Windworks. It's one of the best encounters in the game and only available within 5 honey trees total. This will be a good time to test your luck if you'd like to catch one. It's also worth noting that wild Munchlax are guaranteed to hold leftovers. With some luck or clausing, you can gain access to this held item all before the second gym. Lastly, make sure you grab the bulk up TMs on Route 205. With all of this completed, we are now ready for our first Galactic Commander fight. It's time for the lore in the Team Galactic Commander Mars fight. This fight is considered a potential run ender, mainly due to Mars's level 19 Purugly? While her team doesn't look too difficult on paper, they make up for it with annoying status moves to bog you down. This is where the berries we just picked up will come in handy. It's worth noting Mars's team could be severely overleveled if you play with level cap rules, as her ace is level 19. This can play to your advantage if you wish to exploit this. Also, Mars only has 4 Pokemon in her arsenal. This will allow you to outnumber her team 6-4 and use multiple Pokemon against one of her Pokemon that you think is threatening. And now, it's time for the full team breakdown. Mars's first Pokemon is a level 18 Zubat with a speed stat of 33. Zubat's moveset is Stab Poison Fang, Stab Wing Attack, as well as the status moves Toxic and Confuse Ray. Confuse Ray is arguably the most threatening move here, which can make this Zubat frustrating to defeat. The best case scenario is to outspeed Zubat and one-shot it with a strong attack to avoid the confusion shenanigans. Any of the fast electric or psychic types available will do great here. Rock or steel types can be used, but they are most likely slower than Zubat, leaving you open to the chance of getting confused. If you're lacking in these departments, a physically bulky Pokemon can help wall Zubat. Pecha Berries could also come in handy here to cure Toxic and give you a free turn to attack. Lastly, the Magnet, Shockwave TMs, and Rock Tomb TMs can come in handy here. Use them if needed. Bronzor is next on her team with a speed stat of 18. While being extremely slow, Bronzor makes up for it with great defense and great typing. Its moves are Stab Extrasensory, Stab Gyro Ball, Confuse Ray, and Hypnosis. The main strength of this Bronzor is its ability to tank hits, heal itself with its Citrus Berry, and inflict status moves. A Chesto Berry will come in handy here to cure a potential Hypnosis. With its ability Levitate, Bronzor's only weaknesses are Fire, Dark, and Ghost. Fire types are more abundant at this point in the game, and will most likely be your best option. Take out Bronzor before its status moves can weigh you down. Mars' second to last Pokemon is Yanma. Yanma's speed stat is 48. However, its ability Speed Boost will change this, raising its speed by 1 stage every turn. Yanma's moveset is the following: Stab Silverwind, Stab Air Cutter, Sonic Boom, and Detect, most notably to utilize its ability Speed Boost. Outspeeding Yanma is highly unlikely, so using a tanky Pokemon is our best bet. Yanma is a rather frail Pokemon with a 4x weakness to Rock. Exploit it if you can. Defensively, Rock and Steel types are preferable, as they resist both stab attacks. This will most likely bait the move Sonic Boom, and avoid Air Cutter's high crit chance and the chance of an Omni Boost from Silverwind. Electric, Fire, and Flying types are also usable, but bait one of said stab moves. Lastly, you could get cheeky and try to predict a Detect turn, giving you a free turn to set up or swap for free. Mars's Purugly is her ace and the demon of this team. This chunky cat literally has a higher base speed stat than Pokemon who are faster than jet planes, boasting a speed stat of 59. To utilize this speed, its moveset is Fake Out, Stab Facade, Hypnosis, and Feint Attack for coverage. Earlier I mentioned potentially overleveling Mars's Pokemon and outnumbering her team 6-4. Purugly is the main reason behind this comment. Now, you can approach battling this Purugly a couple of ways. Outspeeding this Purugly is highly unlikely, so I recommend using a physically bulky Pokemon to go mono with it instead. With this in mind, Rock or Steel types are great options to tank Purugly's physical moves and its Stab Facade. On the other hand, any of the fighting types available can give you a super effective offensive option. Purugly will most likely use Fake Out turn 1, giving you the opportunity to make a safe swap. From here, your Pokemon of choice can duel Purugly. You could also take advantage of this free swap by swapping in an Intimidate Pokemon to debuff Purugly's attack. Chesto Berries are highly recommended, curing a potential Hypnosis and maintaining your momentum in the fight. If you're struggling to find offensive threats, remember the Brick Break TMs can come in clutch here. Lastly, remember not to status Purugly, as this will boost the power of Facade. In conclusion, use a physically bulky Pokemon and the tips we talked about to take down Purugly. Congratulations, trainer, you've survived your first Commander Mars fight. Now that we've saved Valley Windworks, it's time to head to Eterna Forest. On the way there, pick up more berries from under the bridge and the Destiny Knot. Inside Eterna Forest, Cheryl is waiting your arrival. In Renegade Platinum, she will challenge you to a battle and is now considered an enemy of the Republic. Cheryl's team is a bit underwhelming, but her main threat is her level 20 Chansey. Like Commander Mars, Cheryl only has 4 Pokemon, which can be outnumbered and overleveled if needed. Use this to your advantage. And now, it's a good time to discuss a quick cheese strat you can carry carry with you for the rest of the run. This cheese strat will exploit knowing the gender of your opponent's Pokemon and the Captivate TMs we picked up earlier. All Pokemon of boss trainers in Renegade Platinum will be the same gender as their trainer. For example, in our last episode, all of Roark's Pokemon were male. This means Cheryl's team and Gardenia's team soon to come will consist of all female Pokemon. Keep in mind, however, this does exclude genderless Pokemon like Mars's Bronzor. Knowing an enemy Pokemon's gender ahead of time can help you spice up your prep for each battle. The moves Attract, Captivate, and the niche gender-based abilities can be utilized with this knowledge. Keep these gender-based strategies in mind for each battle. You never know when it could bail you out of a tight situation. We can utilize the Captivate strategy against Cheryl. Captivate sharply lowers the special attack of an enemy Pokemon if it's the opposite gender of the user. This move is extremely overpowered, quickly debuffing special attackers. This strategy can be utilized throughout the game, exploiting any leading Pokemon of the opposite gender that is a special attacker. After debuffing a Pokemon using Captivate, you can set up your Pokemon for free and potentially sweep the rest of their team. In Cheryl's case, you can debuff her female Drifloon to -6. The only lose condition with this strategy is once again a critical hit, which will bypass the special attack debuffs. To be honest, using this strat on Cheryl is arguably unnecessary, but this is technically the first time this strat can be used, and we will discuss another cheese strat for Gardenia.
Hello, streamer man. This strategy makes the game too easy. As a member of the Nuzlocke Validation Council, this run is invalidated.
Fine. I'll do it myself.
Let's do a full breakdown of Cheryl's team. Cheryl's lead Pokemon is her level 19 Drifloon. Drifloon's moveset consists of Stab Ominous Wind, Stab Air Cutter, Swift, and Shockwave for coverage. Drifloon's speed stat is 20. However, its ability Unburden will double its speed to 40 once its Citrus Berry is consumed. To avoid speeding up the boy, try to one-shot it exploiting its frail defenses. In terms of counters, Electric types and Rock types are the most common at this point in the game, and will resist the majority of its moves. Dark types are not as common, but are also good options. Outside of these typings, a special defensive tank could also perform well here. Makuhita is next with a speed stat of 20. Its moveset is Fake Out, Stab Brick Break, as well as Knock Off and Bullet Punch for coverage. Like most Fake Out mons, Makuhita will use Fake Out turn 1, giving you the chance to swap into a preferred counter. In terms of counters, any of the flying types available could work well, preferably those that do not take Brick Break for neutral damage. Psychic and Fairy types can be used, but beware of Makuhita's 2 coverage moves. Lastly, any physically bulky Pokemon can duel Makuhita if you're running low on options. Honestly, this Makuhita should not prove to be a challenge. Wailmer is Cheryl's second to last Pokemon. This chonker of a whale has a speed stat of 33. Wailmer is packing a moveset of Stab Water Pulse, Rock Tomb, Rollout, and Mist. Like Makuhita, this Wailmer should not be too much of a problem. Resisting Water Pulses is the best play to avoid stab damage and the confusion chance. With this being said, bulky grass types can prove to be a good defensive play. On the other hand, electric types can provide you with a more attacking offensive option. Take out Wailmer before it can stack rollouts or confuse you with Water Pulse. Chansey is the last Pokemon on Cheryl's team and is the most problematic. Chansey's move pool gives it this title with Stab Hyper Voice, Soft Boil for recovery, as well as Ice Beam and Thunderbolt as coverage. You'd be surprised with Chansey's offensive output, especially with it utilizing moves with all over 90 base power. Ice Beam and Thunderbolt will provide Chansey with great coverage, while Serene Grace will boost the chances of freeze and paralysis respectively. If you have any luck like mine, the status chances will happen. So I recommend using Cherry Berries and the Asper Berries that we received from the Daily Berry Girl. Defensively, Chansey is an insanely strong special defensive tank, but has a whopping 5 base defense stat. This will be our weakness to target. Ideally, especially bulky physical attacker is your best counter. A fighting type or a Pokemon utilizing the Brick Break TMs could make quick work of Chansey. Honestly, it will probably take multiple Pokemon and good defensive swaps to take down Chansey. This is where outnumbering Cheryl's team will come in handy. I personally recommend an offensive playstyle here to knock out Chansey fast. If you don't, you could run into Serene Grace shenanigans on Switch In, as well as Chansey constantly healing itself with Soft Boiled. In conclusion, use your numerical advantage and use an offensive playstyle to knock out Chansey and defeat Cheryl. Now that we've defeated Cheryl, she decides to play it nice and ask for our help navigating Eterna Forest. The audacity.
What?
It is noteworthy that this is a good part of the game to grind XP if you're not using rare candies, as Cheryl will automatically heal your Pokemon after each battle. It is advised to approach all double battles within the forest and throughout the game for that matter, one trainer at a time if possible. Double battle AI is extremely dangerous and unpredictable, which could cost you a Pokemon. Silly losses from random trainers can add up pretty quickly, and any risk should be avoided. And now, it's time to talk about the encounter sauce within Eterna Forest. There are two different ways to get an encounter while in Eterna Forest. The first is while you are with Cheryl, and the second is after you leave Cheryl. Let's discuss the pros and cons of each. Getting an encounter with Cheryl is essentially a high-risk, high-reward play. The reward for such method is guaranteeing a double encounter, which can give you 2 encounter choices. The risk with this method, however, is that Cheryl can kill your encounters. The second method is to use repels and navigate the forest until you ditch Cheryl. This will eliminate the risk of her killing your encounter, but will only give you a single encounter rather than a double. I'm more of a conservative player and elected to choose the single encounter option, but choose what works best for your run. Now back to the gameplay. The only notable item within the forest is a leaf stone located at the mossy rock. Successfully navigate Cheryl through the forest and she will give you the return TMs. Now that she's gone, we can go to the old Chateau. Outside the Chateau, grab the Shadow Claw TMs. Before we go inside, let's quickly talk about encounters again. Along with normal encounters, you can get a guaranteed Gengar or Rotom inside the Chateau, both at level 20. Use repels to navigate the Chateau if you wish to get either of these Pokemon. Gengar is a fantastic Pokemon, and Rotom receives type changes and versatility with each of its appliance forms. Be careful while catching Gengar, as it does no curse and you could potentially lose this encounter. Now onto items. Upstairs in the far right room lies the substitute TMs, one of the most overpowered AI breaking moves in the game. Lastly, don't forget the spell tag, which is located in the downstairs dining room. Exiting the forest brings us to Route 205 North. Here you can grab some extra berries and a water stone. Head southwest hugging the tree line to find more berries, the silver powder, the sleep talk TMs, and a guaranteed Beedrill honey tree. And finally, it's time for Eterna City. At last, we arrive at Eterna City. After some lore, we are free to explore the city. Cynthia will give you the cut HM outside of the Galactic Eterna building. Grab the Thief TMs while you're up here, which can give you access to battle items from wild Pokemon, like the Metal Coat and the leftovers we mentioned earlier. Next, head to the house next door to the Pokemon Center. Inside are the Dig TMs, all available Pokemon fossils, and the Explorer Kit, so you can recreate your childhood memories of having absolutely no friends to play with in the underground. The fossil Pokemon can be redeemed immediately if you walk back to Orbrook City. The mining museum is technically its own area, so you don't have to worry about duplicate encounters. Some of the fossil Pokemon receive buffs and tweaks. I recommend checking out the documentation for these changes. Aerodactyl and Bastiodon are the strongest and most common choices, but choose what works best for your run. Back in Eterna City, head south into the Eterna condominiums. The Name Raider, a trade requesting a Snorunt for a Chatot, and the Recycle TMs are inside. The Chatot has good guaranteed IVs and a modest nature. It's a decent encounter if you end up with a terrible Snorunt. Now, stop by the Pokemon Mart and buy some repels. These repels are very important and will guarantee us a great encounter inside Mount Coronet very soon. Outside of the Eterna City gym lies a Sunstone. And finally, after all of this item grabbing and encounter sauce, we can finally battle Gardenia. Are you kidding me? Heading east in Eterna City, we find a small pond. There is, you guessed it, more encounter sauce here. You can get a guaranteed Dratini if you play with a no duplicate rule set like a traditional hardcore Nuzlocke. You see, the 3 Pokemon in this pond are Magikarp, Poliwag, and Dratini. Catching a Magikarp and a Poliwag ahead of time can guarantee your encounter to be a Dratini. Magikarp is pretty much throughout all of Sinnoh, and Poliwag can be caught in Twinleaf Town. Unfortunately, you can't reap the benefits of Dragonite until later level caps, but this is worth noting. Exit Eterna City to the west portion of Route 211. We will cover West Route 211 now since we are here, and East Route 211 after getting Gardenia. West Route 211 has the Taunt TMs, so do not miss them. Now, use a repel we bought earlier and head into Mount Coronet. Remember, it is important to keep your repel active while we grab items, as our guaranteed encounter is on the second floor. The first floor contains a Moonstone and TM69 Rock Polish. Head south and go to the bottom floor to grab the Dragon Claw TMs. Now we can head to the second floor and grab some items and our encounter. The soft sand, prism scale, and light clay are located on this floor. And now it's time to reveal the reasoning behind our repels. Using an old rod on the pond at the second floor of Mount Coronet has a 100% chance to fish up a Feebas. And lucky for us, the prism scale we just grabbed evolves Feebas into Milotic, one of the best Pokemon in the game. Our last bit of Mount Coronet will take us by the Nevermelt Ice. Congratulations, you've made it to Route 216. Route 216 is easily my least favorite route in Sinnoh. The hail will continuously damage your Pokemon in battle, and the trainers on this route are absolutely demonic. Luckily for us, we can dodge the majority of the trainers on this route. Use the high ground and find the Ice Stone. And now, allow me to introduce you to Spawn of Satan Ace Trainer Lara. Her Pokemon consist of a Serene Grace Togetic with Air Cutter and Ancient Power, plus a Swellow with Stab moves and Reversal. Be especially careful with this Swellow, as Reversal can easily destroy your Pokemon if you do not one-shot it. With this completed, we can kindly ask Gardenia to end her failed expedition short. Poor Gardenia. Let's quickly cover East Route 211. I highly recommend dodging all the trainers on this route and going straight for the item rewards or an encounter. A Firestone and the Psyop TMs are located here. Route 211 East also has some fantastic encounter chances, including a 10% Bagon and a Munchlax in the Honey Tree. Test your luck if you'd like. And finally, it's time to fight for our second gym badge against Gardenia. At last, we are able to battle Gardenia and earn ourselves the Forest Badge. Gardenia's Ace is level 26. Level up your Pokemon to 26 and edge them to level 27. Gardenia's team of grass types is a balanced mix of offensive and defensive threats. Many members of her team contain coverage and support style moves. Bug, Fire, Flying, Ice, and Poison type Pokemon will be ideal for team building. There are other Pokemon that could perform well that aren't necessarily of those typings. Also, remember the Aerial Ace TMs we just picked up in Floaroma Town. These TMs could provide you with an extra outside of the box option. And now it's time for the cheese strats. Like Roark, we are looking to use setup moves and sweep all or the majority of Gardenia's team. There are multiple approaches to this cheese strat, but they all exploit Gardenia's leading Pokemon, Bellossom. Disclaimer, your results may vary depending on which Pokemon you use. The cheese strat involves the substitute TMs we picked up earlier. The ideal situation is to outspeed Bellossom's speed stat of 33 and set up a substitute. If you didn't know, status moves are ineffective against a Pokemon that is sitting behind a substitute. However, the AI does not recognize this, and with some luck or proper baiting, the AI will continuously spam ineffective status moves. These wasted turns could give you the chance to set up your Pokemon for free. In this case, Gardenia's Bellossom has two status moves, Teeter Dance and Stun Spore. Being faster than Bellossom not only allows us to substitute first, but will also bait Stun Spore, as the AI loves having speed control. If you can't outspeed Bellossom, the AI is less predictable. You risk baiting damaging moves instead of Stun Spore, which could break your substitute. You also risk becoming confused or paralyzed, which will jeopardize your setup, so use a Cherry Berry if you're slower to get off a substitute. Now with the strat explained, it's your job to pick a proper candidate to use substitute and set up. To start, it's better to be on the safe side and use a Pokemon that outspeeds Bellossom. The next criteria are Pokemon that resist Grass Knot and Dazzling Gleam. Resisting both of these moves will help prevent your substitute from being broken. If you're lacking Pokemon with the type Resistance, remember the Captivate strategies we talked about earlier. Lastly, giving the setup Pokemon leftovers or a damage boosting item are preferred to help complete the sweep. Now, there are a good amount of Pokemon who can utilize this strategy at this point in the game. I will briefly cover the majority of our options. Keep in mind, each of these Pokemon's results may vary, and options are not limited specifically to this list. Let's start with the most common or best options and work our way towards the more niche options. Number 1, Speed Boost Combuskin with Bulk Up. Number 2, Adaptability Quilava. You can use Defense Curl if you'd like, but Adaptability Quilava should be powerful enough to sweep the majority or all of Gardenia's team. Quilava also learns Lava Plume at level 27, so make sure you're edging your Pokemon. Number 3, Monferno with Bulk Up. Monferno also benefits from learning Flamethrower at level 27. Number 4, Arcanine with Agility and Howl. Number 5, Ponyta with Agility. Number 6, Swellow and Staravia both with Double Team. Beware of Shockwave Tangela, who can end your sweep. Number 7, Roselia and Gloom both with Growth. Number 8, Ariados with Swords Dance. Number 9, Drifloon with Minimize and Stockpile. Number 10, Farfetch'd with Swords Dance and Agility. If you've thought of any more creative strategies to set up with, drop them in the comments below. With the cheese strats over, it's now time for the full team breakdown. Gardenia's lead Pokemon is Bellossom. Bellossom's speed stat is 33. Like I stated earlier, outspeeding Bellossom is preferable due to Teeter Dance and Stun Spore. Grass Knot and Dazzling Gleam round out its moveset. Bellossom is a rather slow but defensive Pokemon, having slightly higher special defense than physical defense. Fire or poison types are preferable, as they will resist Grass Knot and Dazzling Gleam. In terms of items, a Cherry Berry or a damage boosting item will be best. Honestly, there isn't really much to say about this Bellossom. Try to avoid its status moves and take it down fast. The Ball of Vines Tangela is next on Gardenia's team. Tangela's move pool is Grass Knot, Ancient Power, Shockwave, and Stun Spore. Ancient Power provides Tangela terrific coverage against Fire, Bug, Ice, and Flying types. Shockwave doubles up Tangela's coverage against Flying types. Tangela is also carrying a Koba Berry, which weakens the power of super effective flying moves by 50%. As you could probably guess, Flying types aren't really useful against this Tangela. Defensively, Tangela is a physically defensive Pokemon with 115 base defense. However, Tangela's weak spot is its dreadful 35 special defense and its 60 base speed, giving it a speed stat of 42. The best strategy to defeating Tangela is making a safe defensive swap to a strong special attacker. This special attacker, preferably with good speed and the type advantage, should be able to outspeed and one-shot Tangela. I recommend a damage boosting item or a Cherry Berry to help avoid paralysis. Exploit Tangela's terrible special defense and mediocre speed to take down this Fine. Rest in peace, Fine. Cheryl receives multiple buffs and stat changes in Renegade Platinum. These changes included 20 base stat buff to its special attack and mini buffs to its speed and special defense. Its moveset consists of Grass Knot, Sunny Day, Morning Sun, and Weather Ball, which becomes a fire type move in Sunlight. Cheryl is also carrying a Focus Sash, meaning Cheryl cannot be one-shot by any move. This Cheryl loves using Sunny Day turn 1, which will activate its ability Flower Gift. As you probably guessed, Cheryl using Sunny Day can actually work in our favor by boosting the power of fire type moves. On top of the offensive boost in Sunlight, fire types will resist Grass Knot and Sunny Day Weather Ball, making them the ideal counter to defeat this Cheryl. To defeat Cheryl, swap into a fire type turn 1 as it uses Sunny Day. Now a fire type move will torch this Cheryl down to 1 health, proccing its Focus Sash. With her Pokemon low, Gardenia may use a potion to heal if she hasn't used it already. If she has used the potion, you can use a priority move to mop up Cheryl easily. And with Cheryl out of the way, you can ride the Sunny Day wave and use it to your advantage for the rest of the fight. Just keep in mind of her chlorophyll Pokemon in the back if Sunny Day is still up. Groudle is up next, living up to its turtle design with a speed stat of 30.
We're the Slowskis, and we're slow.
Miss Slowski is a physically bulky tank, taking advantage of Leftovers, Leech Seed, and Protect. Stab, Seed Bomb, and Bulldoze round out its moveset. This Groudle can be very annoying to face, as it prefers a slow defensive battle. Groudle's weakness lies in its special defense and its turtle's slow speed. It also only has 2 attacking moves, which is something we will exploit. Bulldoze will provide coverage against poison and fire types. However, only having Seed Bomb and Bulldoze in its arsenal will give bug and flying types the supreme advantage. You could use special attacking poison and fire types if you're in a bind, but be sure you can live a Bulldoze. Outside of these options, physically bulky special attackers are ideal. Use an offensive playstyle and take down Groudle fast before it outlasts you in battle. Breloom is Gardenia's second to last Pokemon and is probably the most underrated. Breloom's moveset is extremely dangerous, packing Stab Bullet Seed, Priority Stab Mach Punch, 100% accurate Spore, and Thunder Punch for coverage. Breloom is also packing a Muscle Band, Naughty Nature, and the ability Tactician, boosting the power of weaker moves by 50%. Tactician will directly boost Breloom's Mach Punch and Bullet Seed. Spore has 100% accuracy and will put you to sleep instantly, making a Chateau Berry absolutely key for dueling this Breloom. Thunder Punch provides Breloom with great coverage against its 4 times weakness to flying. To easily defeat this Breloom, you need to pivot to a Pokemon that does not bait Thunder Punch. From here, swap into a flying type which outspeeds Breloom's speed stat of 47 and one-shot it. The Aerial Ace TMs could also provide you with some outside of the box options. Physically bulky Pokemon will be great to counter Breloom's whopping 130 base attack. Type-wise, bug and poison types can help wall Breloom's stab moves, but make sure you can tank a Thunder Punch. Psychic or fire types can be decent options if you can tank a Mach Punch or a Thunder Punch. I highly recommend you use the battle calculator and plan extensively for this Breloom. Make good defensive swaps and use flying type moves to exploit Breloom to deliver a knockout punch. If you thought Breloom was scary, way, let me introduce you to Gardenia's ace, Roserade. Roserade is a fast special attacker with decent special defense. Its weakness is its 65 base defense stat and its 60 base HP. This is what we will target. To take advantage of its 125 base special attack, it has an insane moveset of Magical Leaf, Sludge, Extra Sensory, and Dazzling Gleam. It's also carrying a Citrus Berry to restore its HP. I'm going to be honest right out of the gate, this Roserade is extremely tough to deal with. It's fast and it hits hard. Its moveset coverage makes resisting all of its moves very difficult, and Pokemon that are faster than Roserade are most likely too frail to tank more than 2 of its attacks. We literally have to handpick our counters against this Roserade, as there aren't really many at this point in the game. The most common is Crobat, resisting all of Roserade's moves aside from Extra Sensory. Crobat is also very fast and most likely outspeeds this Roserade. Metang is also another counter, as it resists all of Roserade's moves. On top of this, it can also do a ton of damage using super effective stab moves. Snorlax, Blissey, and potentially Umbreon are just simply tanky options that could help wall Roserade. Outside of these options, it's a pretty huge drop off in terms of straight up counters. If I happen to miss a Pokemon that you feel is a great counter, drop it in the comments below. The battle calculator will be your best friend here, as it will help you determine which of your Pokemon can duel Roserade. Most Pokemon will take neutral damage to at least one of its hard-hitting moves, so calculating this damage is important. Lastly, keep the Aerial Ace and Captivate TMs in mind while you prep for Roserade. Use the tips mentioned and take down Roserade to finish off Gardenia. Thank you all so much for watching this episode. I recommend checking out the previous episode in our series if you haven't done so already. Lastly, if you want to join me for a recording of these videos or other Nuzlocking and Pokemon content, swing by a stream weeknights on Twitch at twitch.tv/disclaim_. I'll see you all next time for the Fantina split, and good luck on your runs. Peace!